What's going on, Jerome's? Before we get started on the Friday news dump, just want to take a second. So we don't really pat ourselves on the back. Sort of is what it is. This is a labor of fun, and we'll keep doing this channel while it's fun. But apparently 100 million views on this channel, and I don't know, it's humbling because you don't really think about these things, but it's awesome. And I love the Jerome community. I love the infotainment, I guess. I love that don't really take things too seriously. I love that the inside jokes that we have. Chris Sims, son of Boomer Esiason. It's so stupid, but I like that one. Just thank you. Thank you to this community that we built together. And, without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. 100,000 subs coming on up. We get a plaque. Margaret's going to like that. Probably go in her room, or I don't know, maybe one of the other two's room. I don't know, but either way, it's humbling, and it's just I don't know, it's just recognition that we're doing something right. Yeah, and it makes the grind a lot of fun. So again, thank you guys so much. Thank you for all your support as well. I know it's been a grind week, and a bunch of you guys have tossed something in the Venmo as well as the Cash App, and thank you for that. It's going to be a lot of coffee and a lot of beers. A lot of beers this weekend. A couple of beers. Yeah. But again, thank you for all the support. Thank you for the Venmos. Thank you for the views. Thank you for everything. You guys are the absolute best. What's going on, Jerome's? Is a beautiful Friday. Birds are chirping and stuff. It's time for another Vikings news dump. It's basically the week. Well, no, it is the weekend. As the legend, Stephanie Small, says, if there's golf on TV, it's the weekend. So close enough. Vikings made a plethora of moves along the offensive line on Thursday. Notably, Ed Ingram is getting traded to the Texans for a 2026 sixth-round pick. Not this year, next year. And Ingram, the Vikings save around $3.5 million in cap space by moving on. His contract was going to be bumped up due to performance accelerators, and it just didn't work out. Right, a second-round pick out of LSU, started for 2.5 seasons, eventually to Dalton Reisner last year. Just sort of is what it is, right? It didn't work out, and said this yesterday. I respect that Kwesi cuts his losses. When he finds out that a player just isn't going to hack it, whether it's Lewisine or Booth or Ed Ingram, cut it out. That's a data reference. But as opposed to, you do see some GMs where, hey, this is my draft pick. There's many like it, but this one is mine. This is a high draft pick. He is staying on the roster. Hey, coaches, you play him. You play my guy. Right? And Kwesi doesn't do that. Now, yeah, he deserves flags. Well, ideally the draft pick would have worked out, but whatever. Now, no GM bats 1,000. Hell, no GM bats 400. No, there's no Ted Williams out there except for maybe Howie Roseman. But Ed Ingram heads back to Texas. He's a Texas dude, so I don't know. Hopefully things work out. Best of luck to him. And just don't let CJ Stroud die. He's too good to let they gutted their offensive line and they brought in Ed Ingram. Next, also was reported, Pelissero, the Vikings plan to release center Garrett Bradbury if they can't trade him, sources tell me in Rap Sheet. The team signed Ryan Kelly, blah, 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 blah. Now, with Bradbury's $4.9 million base, there's no guarantees. There's no trigger dates of, X amount is guaranteed. So, theoretically, they could just hang on to him throughout training camp and start the new league year, or start of the regular season. I think this is more doing Bradbury a solid, because if Bradbury just stays on the roster, he knows he's not going to start over Ryan Kelly. So now you give him a chance, in third and fourth wave free agency, catch on somewhere, and also work an entire offseason program, training camp. So this really is more about doing Bradbury a solid, and it sort of is what it is, right? And again, first round pick, center. You got to nail these, but Spielman didn't, and now Kwesi's cutting bait, even though Kwesi did extend Bradbury. Should be noted. Yeah. But Ryan Kelly's in the building. Bradbury, Grim Reacher, didn't quite work out. It happens. Now, there are a couple trade destinations. The Patriots, after David Andrews was released, they have an opening at center. Falcons with Dahlman leaving. The Colts with Ryan Kelly leaving. The Rams, because Bo Lemmer ain't it as of right now, right? And also, similar scheme with the Rams, a lot of outside zone. Same thing with the Falcons. So he could find a home somewhere else. Just go to your home. But with Bradbury, just didn't work out, and it happens. Now we're here, Ryan Kelly, and then hopefully the Vikings can grab a center of the future like Jared Wilson from Georgia, Gray Zabel from NDSU, Yana Manheim from USC, Majors from Texas. Go from there, right? Or Michael Juergens in-house, which would be kind of nice too. Also, the Vikings added a new swing tackle, Alec Lewis. The Vikings have agreed to terms with tackle Justin School, per source, but of course, he's going to be Justin School now. Justin School started 5 games last year for Tampa, was effective. A nice swing tackle for the Vikings, thinking smartly, knowing Christian Darrisaw is coming off an ACL. So he's a 2019 6th-round pick out of Vanderbilt. Spent 3 seasons with San Francisco, last 3 with Tampa Bay. And he does fill in that Quisenberry. No, we don't even have the updated one. It's horseshit. He does fill in that Quisenberry role because I think that Quisenberry's aged out. I don't think that they bring him back. Also, it does free up Walter Rouse. Right, so I think that Rouse could get into the guard derby. He had taken some snaps there in training camp and during the regular season. So I think that left guard spot is open. I think that the Vikings would be smart to keep Will Fries at right guard because he's already developed there with Ryan Kelly. Right, that communication is strong. Don't need to break that up. So Darrisaw, I should format this better. But Darrisaw, left guard TBD, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, and then Brian O'Neill. That's a damn good starting 5 offensive linemen. Now, for left guard, Blake Brandel, the incumbent, second year of his 3-year deal, could be in that mix. Walter Rouse could be in there. Michael Juergens. Do they bring back Reisner? Frankly, at this point, I wouldn't be mad. And I know Reisner never signs until in training camp in 2023 or right in the middle of the offseason in 2024. So I would be fine bringing him back. Specifically, since the center next to him is going to be much improved, as well as so will he played right guard last year, but most of his NFL experience is at left guard. So we'll see. Also, so we're not going to dwell on the 8-round Rodgers talk like the other places, but I still think it's nonsensical. It doesn't make sense for what the Vikings are doing. You built your rooster around J.J. McCarthy's rookie deal. That's why you can get the Hargraves and the Fries, as well as the Jonathan Allen contracts of the world done. And also bring back Byron Murphy Jr. But Rodgers, so he's got an offer on the table from the Steelers, which makes sense. Probably has an offer on the table from the Giants. And if he comes here, he's not going to get big money. So under the circumstances of he comes in to compete, he is not guaranteed the job. He comes in to compete, and he takes $15 million or less with some incentives. If he wins a starting job, that's the only way that this is palatable. But I don't even know what's going on. But Burt Breer. So Burt Breer, I actually accept his take on things because I think that he's a neutral. It's pretty clear that Diana Rossini of The Athletic, maybe even Kevin Seifert of ESPN, who's not Carl Gershman, Michael Silver, definitely, they're very biased on the Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings issue. Whereas Schefter, obviously Schefter, Michigan alum, is for his guy J.J. McCarthy, says that there's nothing there, and the Vikings have zero interest in Aaron Rodgers. And also Paul Allen, PA on the mic, is very much against whatever the shenanigans is. But Burt Breer, I think, is a neutral per persuasion. Burt Breer weighs in the Aaron Rodgers and the Vikings. Breer notes that as of last night, so Wednesday night, the Vikings were discussing offering a deal to Rodgers, but haven't done so yet. Maybe they'll throw their hat in the ring. So I understand looking under every rock, and sometimes that rock leads to a cave where someone's in the dark smoking crack. I just don't understand this. And again, this has nothing to do with Rodgers off the field at all. Frankly, there's some things that I agree with, but keeping politics and all that stuff out of there. Specifically on the field, homeboy hasn't been good since 2021 because people forget bad in 2022, bad in 2024, got hurt in 2023. Also, he had to take about 65% of his snaps in shotgun because he couldn't be under center because that Achilles wasn't healed. And also, hey, what does Kevin O'Connell like to do? Quarterback under center, play action, boot action, right? And that's the name of the game. And Rodgers bristled against a similar offense with LaFleur, which led to his Green Bay exit. He got his coach fired in New York, in Rob Salah, and all of the baggage. Does he want to be GM? Are we going to get Alan Lazard? Are we going to bring in Nathaniel Hackett on the coaching staff because he demands it? No. If he comes here, it is as a old ass veteran quarterback, no different than Joe Flacco. All right. And also, it is a little bit pucker factor right now that a lot of the backup quarterbacks, like the Minshews, the Mariotas, the Heinekes, are getting vacuumed up. So now the Vikings are just like, what's going on? Right. But again, if the Vikings are straight up just going to offer him $45 million and basically give him carte blanche and GM over the team, no, absolutely out on that. And it spits in the face of everything that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell built so far. It's ridiculous, man. Also, big time respect to Lindsey Rhodes, NFL Network. Speaking truth to power, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills to the Jets. Jets are taking on $49 million dead cap hit to have him not be their quarterback, which I feel like that should be the number one thing that everyone's overlooking. Right? Why would the Vikings be interested in a quarterback that the Jets don't want? And the Jets are taking almost $50 million in dead cap to have him go away. Right? He's ranked 22nd in EPA CPOE composite score on the season. Also, he's dead last in snorkel. He ranked 32nd of 46 in our Sumner Sports summer score metric. Oh, I guess she's not with NFL Network anymore. And if the idea is that he got better at the end of the year, he turned in the worst EPA per dropback game of the entire season for qualifying quarterbacks in Week 17, minus 1.15, which is bad. It's bad, apparently. How, even in spite of the teams being desperate for quarterbacks, have we reached a point where this is the way we're talking about the situation? And yes, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm talking about now. Yeah, that's the thing, too. You are not getting a legend, four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. You are not getting 28-year-old Aaron Rodgers. You're not getting 34-year-old Aaron Rodgers. You're getting 2B42 this season, Aaron Rodgers. The arm strength is not there because he still doesn't trust that Achilles. And I don't know, it's just, I don't even think there's anything left to say. Like, honestly, why would the Vikings turn their back on unless they're completely effing lying about J.J. McCarthy? Also, that's what we'll come down to. If they make the deal with Aaron Rodgers, everything that Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi has said about J.J. McCarthy is an effing lie. All off season. Oh, and he looks great. Oh, believe in him. Oh, he's a future franchise quarterback. It's an effing lie. All right? And it doesn't even make sense. Now, again, if this was middle of his alleged MVP run, like 32-year-old Aaron Rodgers, yes, like the Vikings should and could be considering that, but it's not. He's a decade older. It makes zero sense. All it is name brand recognition. Under this stupid logic, we should be paying Julio Jones $35 million a year. Well, he's a Hall of Famer. It's whatever. No, you should go to the Titans. That's where all players go to die. Tennessee, man. But also, what if we played the fully healthy 22-year-old quarterback we traded up to draft at number 10 last year, the highest drafted quarterback in team history, and whose cheap rookie deal contract allowed us to build this Avengers roster? What about it? What about the plan? What about trusting the process? It's just so stupid. Or, the lack of action, the inaction on the Vikings picking up a backup quarterback. What if they believe in Brett Rippon? Brett Rippon ass. Right? Now, they did bring Rippon aboard to replace Jaron Hall, who they liked, and then Jaron Hall went to Seattle. And, I mean, they're having him in the quarterback room. There is talk that, yeah, he could be the backup quarterback. And he is 28. He does have a great football mind. He's probably going to be a future OC head coach in NFL or college. Probably go back to Boise State, because why not? And that certainly is a possibility. Or, this one's more fun. The Vikings are just waiting out the Falcons, who are inevitably going to cut Kirk Cousins. Like, they can talk tough all they want. Oh, he's just going to be a backup. We're not getting rid of him unless we trade. No one's trading for that stupid-ass contract, right? So they're going to cut him because they can actually save $10 million because he's got a rooster bonus coming due. And if they cut him, they don't have to pay that $10 million. So the Vikings are just waiting. Vikings are just waiting until they do that, and Kurt can be re-signed for the league minimum because the Falcons still owe him the full freight salary in 2025 because they're idiots. So the Vikings can Russell Wilson, Kurt Cousins, bring him back as the backup. But I know that the other Vikings outlets, they're creaming in their jeans over this. Logically, this just doesn't make sense. But if it happened, I would handicap this as, I don't know, 7%. So it's not impossible, right? One pull of the deck, we'll see what happens. Also, seeing what happens is oh, hey, we built up this massive FU offensive line for J.J. McCarthy. So the Vikings, over the cap, Jason OTC does great work. Current top 10 in annual spending, new money on the offensive line in 2025 is the Minnesota Vikings. $86.6 million, which is a lot, but it's okay. spending up on Ryan Kelly, spending up on Will Fries. You got Darius and O'Neal. Go get some. Go get some, baby. And this is exactly what we're talking about. Plus, well, look around. So the Panthers, maybe not so much, but the Panthers definitely did spend a ton of money, last offseason on the offensive line. It did quite work. Yeah, but Robert Hunt, I mean, he got his. Broncos are one of the best offensive lines in football. Lions and the Eagles, yes, definitely. The Commies getting after things as well. The Bears, whatever. Yeah. And of course, the Titans investing too, because Bill Callahan is still one of the best offensive line coaches in the game. Lots of people want to go there. That's why Zeitler went there. So the Vikings spending on up and getting some. Now this is interesting. So just randomly scrolling some of the press conferences, and Bob Kadada is a long time Seattle well-respected beat writer. He just threw this in there. John Schneider, GM of the Seahawks, confirmed the Seahawks wanted to bring Will Fries in for a physical, but he didn't want to wait, and the Vikings were fine giving him the deal without one. So the Vikings apparently gave Will Fries a 5-year, $88 million deal without a physical. Now, also, what's a little bit disquieting about the Aaron Rodgers thing is that apparently the new Vikings players, the bulk of them, were supposed to be in town and having a press conference with the media today or yesterday. It hasn't happened because maybe they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers, right? But Fries hasn't been in the building as of yet to do the whole signing thing and take the pictures and all that stuff. And also, his full contract details haven't been released as of yet to over the cap or spot rack. So could the holdup be just waiting for him to get physical? Now, he's probably going to be fine. He lost time last year due to a broken right tibia, but that's interesting. That's Kwesi taking a little bit of a calculated risk. It is a bone, sure. So I guess that's better than a knee or a shoulder or any sort of joint or ligament, but it definitely raises an eyebrow a little bit. And Will Fries was definitely in hot contention. There was several teams in on him with big money, but I mean the Vikings got their guy. Which is good, and hopefully that everything else is good to go. Speaking of in the building, so Javon Hargrave as well as Tavier Thomas in the building, signing their contracts. It's great, and Hargrave's funny, man. If they don't bring back Jihad Ward, which would suck because he's funny and also very productive, but Hargrave could be the funniest guy on the team with Jonathan Grenard. He was talking about when Hargrave was talking about when he was with San Francisco. He came into U.S. Bank Stadium week 2, just seeing the horn and all of the fans and stuff. It's he was impressed. They were definitely on one, right? And you get that a lot from opposing players. They're just whoa. The game day experience is fantastic. U.S. Bank Stadium does great, but most importantly, Vikings fans getting after it. Right. Although half the crowd was 49ers fans. We all remember the home opener. A lot of people sold their tickets because everyone thought that the Vikings were going to be ass. Thank you. Well, not so much. And Tavier Thomas. So I wanted Thomas back when he was with the Texans, right? Because he can play some solid backup slot corner. He's a dynamite special teamer, and he's a all heart, all hustle type player. And he talked about why he joined the Vikings, and he talked about basically, he's talking about the NFLPA report card, where he talked about the coaching, the facilities, the training room, the nutrition, everything like that. And he talked about how he's getting up there in age, his body, he needs that for his career. And he's going to play full speed for that cheese. He has no idea how apt that is for this division, which is really good, man. And also, all around me are familiar places in new places. So slinging Sammy Darnold, a.k.a. America's quarterback, rocking the flannel as an ode to Seattle grunge, wearing DK Metcalf's jersey. So I guess Seattle fans with DK jerseys can just put Darnold on a piece of duct tape, put on there. It's going to be good to go. And so Darnold is that X where things actually ended on pretty good terms, and you want them to do well. You're not vindictive. Don't have any bad feelings except for how it ended last 2 games. Yeah. But Darnold, hopefully he finds success, but not too much success because he is in the NFC after all, and the Vikings do play at Seattle this year, so we'll see. We after that ass, Sammy. It's going to be it. And also Daniel Jones. Also, how the Vikings handled Daniel Jones, Nick Mullins, and Sam Darnold should say everything about how they feel about J.J. McCarthy, right? Because I understand the whole Aaron Rodgers thing is good, barroom banter. Well, what if they bring in Rodgers? What if they trade for Sauce Gardner? Yeah. But if the Vikings were concerned at all about J.J. McCarthy, and if they do sign Rodgers to significant money, that's exactly what that says. We always say, believe actions, not words. So if the Vikings, for whatever reason, actually do sign Aaron Rodgers to big-time money, that means that they're concerned about J.J. McCarthy and or that knee and or both. Now, if that was the truth a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So if that actually was the truth, don't you think that they would have made a more concerted effort to keep Sam Darnold? They could have tagged him. Certainly could have. Had the cap space. They could have worked out like a 2-3 year deal. Certainly could have done that. Or, at minimum, Daniel Jones had a tough decision between the Vikings and the Colts. Eventually took the Colts job, $14 million, competing with Anthony Richardson, but it was a tough decision. It should have been an easy decision because apparently the Vikings offered similar money. If he had been thinking, or he had knowledge, or the Vikings just straight up told him or his agents, like, hey, we're concerned about about J.J. McCarthy, you can be here and compete, he would have took that in a shot. Because respect to the Colts, they got some players. It ain't like Minnesota right now. Like Minnesota, frankly, this is a Super Bowl caliber roster, Super Bowl caliber coaching staff, and whoever's at the helm at quarterback is going to have all the weapons at their disposal. So again, if the Vikings are actually concerned about J.J. McCarthy to the point where they consider Aaron Rodgers, they would have brought back Darnold, or at minimum, they would have brought back Daniel Jones. Again, believe actions, not words. All the speculation is ridiculous. It doesn't add up. You know what I mean? But I guess we'll see. Like, the absolute worst case scenario for this is, say Rodgers doesn't sign anywhere, the Steelers and the Giants go different directions, and say that the Vikings actually do believe in Brett Rippon as QB2, but no one believes them, even though they said it. Again, actions, not words. And then this entire rest of spring, beautiful summer, into training camp, J.J. McCarthy's under a microscope. It's just like every incompletion, every wrong decision, every whatever. It's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers coming in. Just a full 4 or 5 months of just nonstop Rodgers speculation. And it would be similar to Favre in 2009, because remember, the Vikings had like Sage Rosenfels and T-Jack as their quarterbacks. And Favre didn't join up until training camp. Actually, like middle of training camp. I don't want that. Just please, for the love of everything that is effing holy, Rodgers just sign with the frickin' Steelers, and then we can just move on with our lives. Please. That's it. Anyways, Brett Rippon asks, you guys are the best. You know what to do. You want to support the work